with a little bit of polish, and overall, they just kind of missed their mark. I think more people play the competing games, especially in MMOs. You know, it's a genre of huge dramatic competition. Now, action RPGs, as even evidenced by this top 10 list, there's lots of different games out there, but luckily there are so many different kinds of action RPGs awaiting in this list. However, Guardians of Ember looks, you know, at first glance somewhat familiar. It shouldn't be too dissimilar to others, but it is going to have a couple of really cool features that I really enjoy. You know, you have class mixing, or at least dual class systems. You're going to have extended PvE with randomized dungeons, which I'm pretty hyped for. But my favorite fact about all this, you know, information that we get about the game is that they kind of are splitting it between PvE and PvP. In fact, we're going to have multiple PvP modes with 1v1, 3v3, and 5v5. So if we have all of this game, you know, it's a full, well-rounded action RPG. I think that's going to fit very nicely in a genre that's completely dominated by PvE and an extremely linear type of games. Now, my number 9 slot, I'm going to give it to a game called Mu Legend. I actually did my first impressions on this game. I streamed it a little bit, and most of my complaints about the game really come from it just being in closed beta. You know, a little bit of laggy. It was a little bit easy in ways, but in the end, from what I hear on YouTube, you know, in comments and also on videos and on the forums, it seems that Mu Legend is actually very aware of itself. Okay, so the first impressions, it seems usual, and I probably will have to completely agree with that. But in the end, really, it knows that people just want to jump in. They want to play their core roles. You know, the Trinity. They want to play, you know, the very specific roles and classes that are tried and true, and people want to get to endgame instantaneously. Mu Legend allows you to do that. So while it might seem at first glance somewhat unimpressive, in the end, it's aware of what people want when they play these games. So mechanically, you will be satisfied, and you'll be satisfied quickly. Now, whether or not that gives the game less or more replay value, we'll have to see, but it is a very online and very social game. So being able to drop in or drop out sounds pretty good to me. And now the next game I want to talk about is going to be a single-player action RPG called Crosscode. Now this game, even though it is incredibly action-packed, and I definitely can liken it to Hyper Light Drifter, it has way more RPG, way more story than alike games. In fact, it reminds me of a lot of older Super Nintendo games like The Legend of Gaia or something like that, that are very involved with lots of text, lots of characters that you're going to see repeating faces all over the place, and it is just graphically, you know, it kind of looks like that as well. So it takes a lot of themes from older games and yet amps